This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, War, Peace, and the Presidency, Breaking with Convention. I'm Amy Goodman, here with Juan Gonzalez in Chicago. On Monday night, President Biden headlined the opening night of the Democratic National Convention. A few minutes into his remarks, 3 delegates unfurled a banner that read, "Stop Arming Israel." The action took place where the Florida delegation was sitting. While some other delegates snatched the banner away, many delegates quickly raised Joe Biden placards that read, "Thank you, Joe," and "I love Joe," to block any view of the banner. More and more of those placards were brought out to cover the banner as much as possible. The protesting delegates who unfurled that banner were quickly escorted from the convention floor by security. Democracy Now! Was nearby when it happened. What's your name, sir? Sir, what's your name?
My name's Liano Sharon. I'm a DNC delegate from Michigan.
And what did you do today?
Today we held up a sign protesting the murder of children in Gaza and the continuing genocide.
Watch your step, watch your step. What did the sign say?
It said, stop arming Israel.
All right, thank you. Let's keep it going. We'll watch our get into the tunnel. Let's get into the tunnel. You can interview him in the tunnel, okay?
And what happened
I just don't want you to break your ankles.
Then the people behind us grabbed a hold of the sign and tried to rip it out of our hands several times. Eventually, they succeeded.
Interview in the hall, okay? Let's get him down. Come on. All right, thanks for being cooperative, sir.
Yeah,
okay,
no problem.
Thank you.
And why did you do it?
I did that because we are currently funding a genocide, and it needs to stop. And also, I want to make it clear to the Harris campaign that this is actually in their interest. Okay. Netanyahu is trying to instigate a larger war so he could remain in power and avoid going to prison. In order to move Netanyahu off of his current position of trying to expand the war in order to stay in power and remain out of jail, we believe that the U.S. needs to stop arming Israel. It needs to have an embargo against their genocide. Otherwise, Netanyahu doesn't have the incentive to stop the genocide, to stop the mass murder.
Why does this matter to you so much?
It matters to me so much because I'm a Jew, and I was always brought up to believe that never again means never again for anyone, anywhere, ever, period. And that's not what's happening right now. What's happening right now is that we are continuing to fund and support an ongoing genocide, the mass murder of children, and it needs to stop.
We're joined now by the 3 DNC delegates who unfurled the Stop Arming Israel banner. They're all members of Delegates Against Genocide. Nadia Ahmad is a Florida Democratic National Committee delegate and member. Liano Sharon is a longtime Jewish progressive activist and elected DNC delegate from Michigan. And Esam Boraey is a delegate from Connecticut. We welcome you all to Democracy Now! Here in Chicago. Liano, I want to start with you because you were the one escorted out by security. If you can explain further why you did what you did. As we heard in that clip as you were talking, as you were taken out, you're Jewish Michigan delegate. Democratic National Committee member.
Well, I mean, as I said when I was escorted out, you know, I was always raised as a Jew that never again means never again for anyone, anywhere, ever, period. And that's not what we're doing. We are currently continuing to arm a Zionist regime that is set on genocide and mass murder of children, and we need to stop that. And there isn't anything else that is as important as that in this moment. So that's why I did it.
And Esam, I'd like to ask you how you managed to organize it. You're from different states, and the motivation for you to get involved in this kind of protest right on the floor of the convention.
Thanks to Nadia. Since we learned that we would be part of the DNC delegation to Chicago, we quickly came together with our history together on organizing and activism in the community since that the war on Gaza started. And we decided to do something, and we wanted to make sure that our voices are heard. We tried multiple ways and many ways of doing these things, and that was our last resort last night. It means a lot because you know, I'm as an immigrant myself, I was once political activist back in my home country of Egypt, and I was kicked out of the country because I was pushing for justice and equality for everybody. And I believe, and I still do, that within the convention, that will be the best platform that our voices will be heard. And this is why, following Nadia's lead on that, we decided to do something yesterday.
So, Nadia, this was your delegation. This was the Florida delegation where you unfurled this banner. It was almost as if they knew. I mean, I was amazed at the alacrity with which, first, they immediately put up these banners that said, "We love Joe, thank you, Joe." But they didn't have enough to cover the banner, and so someone had a large stash of them, and they were bringing more and more, and they were handing them out, so people were holding 2 and 3 to cover up this banner. Did other delegates know or in any way support what you did? And talk about your work in Florida. You're a professor, you're also getting a PhD.
So for me, this was really a matter of being able to speak up for the community. And this was a moment where we have a massive audience, and we were there specifically to confront President Joe Biden. We could have confronted at any time at that convention, but we chose specifically during President Joe Biden's address, because he's the one who can stop this genocide by picking up the phone and making a phone call. And he has chosen not to do that. And for the organizing that we have done, it's really something that has happened on its own, that whether you saw with the student encampments that have happened since April, and also with the protests that's been just endless and ceaseless. And we felt that we could make a change within the party, and that's why we took the actions that we did. And I specifically decided to do it in Florida, and that was just a strategic location because we felt that it would be harder for them to take down the banner right away. But I don't think they knew about it. But what they did, because throughout the time that we were there, they kept giving banners and posters. So they just started to just give a lot more in that particular area. Mm.
And I'm wondering just tactically how you managed to get the banner in, because I'm sure that they're on the lookout for any kind of protest signs that are not part of the official placards that are distributed at the convention.
So I was a reporter for 6 years. I'm an attorney and a law professor. I've been to the White House a number of times. I've been to DNC events. So I know like the level of security that they will go through. And I also felt that if I didn't wear anything, like I wore a hijab, I tried to wear something that wouldn't attract attention. So I wore a large dress to kind of just wrapped it around myself.
You're wearing a Yale University t-shirt right now. Yeah. What's your connection?
So I'm a PhD student there. I was also the first visible Muslim woman or a hijabi to be somebody who taught there with the rank of professor.
Hmm. And I'm wondering, for any of you, the conversations you've been having with fellow delegates, what your sense is of the unspoken unspoken support that exists for Gaza among the delegates who don't dare say anything?
There's a great deal of it. We spoke to a large number of delegates, and the vast majority of the people that we spoke to, especially the people that I spoke to, were supportive of the idea, but were intimidated by the party. In fact, we know of people who were told explicitly that if you participate in this, you will never have a position in the party again. And that's the kind of intimidation that we really have to expunge from the Democratic Party, because we have a right to protest and to have our voices heard and to have our opinions known.
Describe the sash that you're wearing.
This is a Palestinian symbol, kafia. This is these lines symbolize the Mediterranean Sea, and the dots symbolize the olives, which are important symbols of Palestine. And that says Democrats for Palestinian Rights, which I don't know why anybody in the Democratic Party could possibly object to Palestinian rights or human rights anywhere.
Esam, can you describe what happened to you on Sunday around a Palestinian flag?
Oh, yeah. So we arrived, I arrived in Chicago on Sunday afternoon, and as part of our efforts to raise the Palestinian issue within the party, we were invited to an event by the American Palestinian Community Association, and there they gave us flags, Palestinian flags, and bands. So I didn't have time to go after that event to go back to my hotel room and drop my stuff. So I decided to carry my bag to the reception party. And at the gates, they asked me to open my bag, which I did. And then they started digging into my bag. And immediately the security guard held my bag from me and said, you need to wait for a minute. And then called his supervisor, who came along and looked at the bag and said, okay, we need to call someone. So he called the DNC people who showed up. And I kept begging for any explanation. So the supervisor told me, like, I'm not going to give you any explanation. The DNC will do, but we're not going to let you in. And then the DNC employees showed up and they asked me to leave the bag behind. I was not allowed to get in with the flag inside. I told them that I'm not planning on anything. I'm just the flag in my bag. There is no harm found in that whatsoever. But they forced me to go back and leave my bag outside and come in without the bag, which was very concerning.
And I'm wondering, after this convention is over, the debate that will continue among those who believe that the Biden administration, whether it's President Biden or Kamala Harris, are not really moving in the way they should to end this war. What your sense is of what's going to happen in the future in terms of the Gaza support movement? And also, I'm getting the feeling that the Biden administration is really trying to rush to announce a ceasefire before this convention is over, as a means of building greater unity within the Democratic Party. Your thoughts on that?
We've seen a lot of change in the rhetoric of the party, which is something we really appreciate and support. But that rhetoric is not going to cause any real change on the ground. So I believe our efforts to push forward will continue. However, we have a biggest concern. Like, let's be honest here for a second. So we've been, for the last night, we've been hearing about we are stopping the fascism from coming to the American politics, and Trump will come back and bring all of the fascism to the American politics again. And here we are, a hijabi woman, a Jew, and an immigrant who just raised the banner. And the immediate reaction was someone from the Democratic Party who starts beating a hijabi woman with a sign on her head. And 3 others pulled out just the banner, while the staff of the DNC encourage everybody to raise their signs as high as possible to block just a symbol banner. So if we are fighting fascism, what are we doing in the convention center?
Nadia, we're going to give you the last word. And actually, I'd like to know if any of you want to share with whether you are going to support Kamala Harris in November, what your thoughts are, what your bar is.
So Kamala Harris has to decide if she wants me to support her, because every vote has to be earned. That's been the position of the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party has taken the Muslim vote, even the African American vote, for granted for a number of years. Because what are we going to support, a Muslim ban? But we have to decide as a community how we're going to decide. And so 80% of the Muslim community, even higher number, depending on which state you live in, are against the Biden administration and are very much against supporting the Democratic Party. And so if we look at that, I mean, I live in a red state, so it's hard for my vote to have that much of an impact, but it's going to really have an impact.
Liano?
So
We have 10 seconds.
Sure, I plan to vote for Harris, okay, because I don't want Trump. But that's the only reason. I'm not really voting for Harris. I'm voting against Trump.
And Esam?
I'm a proud Democratic Party member, but Vice President needs to earn my vote.
We're going to leave it there. I want to thank you all for being with us. Esam Boraey, Connecticut delegate, Liano Sharon, a Michigan delegate, and Nadia Ahmad, a Florida delegate, all three with Delegates Against Genocide, unfurled banner that read, "Stop Arming Israel." That does it for our broadcast. It's now an expanded 2-hour broadcast during the DNC. Check it all out at democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez from CAN TV in Chicago.